Hello, everyone. A very logical day to all of you. And here we are discussing today the editorial of the Indian Express. The first editorial, yes, but I'm taking the second one also, though we won't be discussing the main idea or something like that. The main idea, central idea, will be from the first editorial. And the second one I've taken because you'll get a few words which are related to your domain. So let's see what we have here. Staving off crisis. Staving off, see, you get another phrase here. Staving off, or क्योंकि off word है, that means it is like avoiding or putting it at a distance, preventing. Avoiding से better होगा prevent करना, है ना, उसे दूर रखना. That is staving off crisis. मतलब crisis को दूर रखना. Let's see what we have here. So, in order to limit the risk to the broader financial system, US authorities have intervened aggressively in the case of Silicon Valley Bank. That is, you must have read news about SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, right? Then all the newspapers are full of these news. So now, in order to, पहले से ही author ने बोल दिया, इसका मतलब this is the objective. And what is the objective? That they need to limit the risk to the broader financial system. That this problem of the Silicon Valley Bank should not affect negatively the broader financial system. इस चीज को रोकने के लिए the US authorities have intervened aggressively. So you can understand the meaning of intervene also. Aggressively यानी पूरा जोर शोर से. So government and the regulators have taken the extraordinary step to guarantee that depositors get access to all their money, even the uninsured deposits. सबसे पहला काम ये कर लिया कि depositors को कोई problem ना हो, उनको वो सारा पैसा मिल जाए. Fine. Now this bold move was aimed at lowering the risk and shoring up confidence in the banking system. Now see, very smartly the author has given his objective first in the sentence, the first sentence, right? Then it is giving you what step it has taken. उसने जब दिया point कि the US authorities have intervened aggressively. What have they done? The action, step one, they have seen that the depositors get the money back. Now, bold move. The moment this sentence starts, that means it is the author's point, author's view, or his opinion on what the US authorities have done. ठीक है, मतलब स्टेप बाय स्टेप पे समझो. ये तुम तो ऑथर ने अपना पॉइंट रखा कि देखो क्या करना है. ऑथर ने, अब वो पॉइंट उसका नहीं था, ऑथर का नहीं था, ये था रीजन यूएस अथॉरिटीज ने क्यों इंटरवीन किया अग्रेसिवली, right? Because they wanted to see, they wanted to limit the risk to the broader financial system. So what did they do? They intervened. And how did they limited the risk by guaranteeing that depositors get access to all their money. ये हो गया. Now comes the author's opinion that this was a bold move. And what was the reason for this move? Why did the US authorities did so? Lowering the risk and shoring up confidence in the banking system, ये उसका ultimate objective था. किसका? US authorities का. However को हम circle कर देते हैं, ठीक है, क्योंकि यहाँ से थोड़ा सा twist आ गया. The ripple effects from the collapse of the SVB continue to be felt across the financial system. Right? इसका मतलब ये सब कुछ करने के बाद भी ripple effects across the financial system was felt. As per some reports, depositors are turning to the larger US banks, and late Monday, Moody's Investor Service placed the ratings of 6 US banks on review for possible downgrades over concerns about the health of regional financial firms. So now this part is the effect. Okay, so now you can see how the author has built his paragraph. Now, at its core, SVB's problems can be traced to the tightening financial conditions. Can be traced मतलब अब वो background building कर रहा है कि देखो ये जो हुआ problem जो हुआ SVB का. So, what was the reason or how did it culminate to this collapse? In an era of low interest rates, the bank had parked its deposits in safe securities. But with the US Federal Reserve aggressively hiking rates to tackle inflation, the bonds held by the bank fell in value. पहले उसे बैंक स्टैक कर लिए थे, स्टॉक कर लिए थे डिपॉजिट्स इन सेफ सिक्योरिटीज, उसके रेट्स कम हो गए इन ऑर्डर टू, उसके वैल्यू कम हो गया इन ऑर्डर टू मीट द सर्ज इन विड्रॉल डिमांड्स, राइट? सर्ज मीन्स इंक्रीज. नाउ बिकॉज इट वाज of low value, people started withdrawing it. The bank announced that it had to sell securities it held at a loss and that it would also have to raise money to shore up its finances. This triggered panic among customers who rushed to withdraw their money, causing the bank to collapse. ठीक है, तो जब उसके उनके bonds की value कम हो गई, so they had to sell the securities at a loss. When the people came to know about it, they started withdrawing the money, and if many people withdraw the money at the same time, the bank will be unable to give them, though it has to give. So it will be unable to give them the cash, and therefore the bank collapsed. Now, in a highly globalized world, the ripple effects from SVB's sudden demise were felt across the markets, but SVB isn't alone. As per the FDIC, at the end of 2022, unrealized losses at US banks stood at $620 billion. This episode raises troubling questions. Major problem ये रहा कि सिर्फ सिलिकॉन वैली बैंक की बात नहीं है, it was also dealing with, मतलब the same thing happened with the other people also. For one, now here it gives you the first effect there, or the first question. Considering that the large share of the depositors in SVB were concentrated in a particular sector and that 93% of the deposits were uninsured with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, according to some reports, shouldn't this have raised regularity concerns? Now, what does that mean? That means if so much was happening and it gave the data कि ये सारी चीजें दिख रही हैं सामने, तो फिर अब से पहले इस पर नजर क्यों नहीं गई, अब से पहले इस पर ध्यान क्यों नहीं गया? Right? So this is a question that has been raised. While it is difficult to ignore the political economy implications of this move, guaranteeing all depositors money in excess of deposit insurance also raises questions over the pricing of risk and moral hazard. Hazard would mean a danger, you can say. It can also be considered as a risk. Now, the implications of SVB's collapse will be felt beyond the tech and startup ecosystem. Implications मतलब वही effect हुआ, right? पर इससे क्या क्या आगे होगा, वो implication होता है something that is going to come up as an effect of whatever has happened due to the collapse of the SVB. Considering the rapid increase in interest rates by the US Fed, there is a possibility of similar episodes causing stress to the financial system, right? So that means this is only one bank that we are talking about, and all this is a result or is a culmination of the increase in the interest rates that was done by the Fed. Now, if this is one bank that is collapsed, definitely, possibly, there would be other banks also which would come to the same situation. So, and this is going to cause stress to the financial system. Fructifying as per the analysts, right? If fructifying का मतलब हो गया कि it would be the product. There is a possibility of similar episodes causing stress to the financial system, fructifying as per analysts. मतलब ये सब भी होने वाला है और सिर्फ SVB के साथ नहीं है, बाकी के बैंक्स के साथ भी ऐसे हो सकता है. क्यों, कैसे? क्योंकि इंटरेस्ट रेट्स तो इंक्रीज हो गए थे. इन व्यू ऑफ दिस, मतलब अगर हमने इस चीज को ध्यान में रखा तो there is an increasing likelihood that the Fed will now rethink its approach to monetary policy. अगर ऐसे बैंक्स कोलैप्स होती गई या बैंक्स पे अगर असर पड़ता गया किस चीज का, where the US Federal Bank is increasing the interest rates and if it is negatively affecting the bank's working and it is crashing, right? And this is only one bank. There might be other such banks also who are about to reach or on the verge of this collapse. So this is pointing out to the US Fed Bank that see you can change the approach to your monetary policy. सिर्फ interest rates बढ़ाने से कुछ नहीं होगा. ठीक है, हो सकता है कि कुछ और वो सोच के कुछ नया लेके आए कि हाउ टू कंट्रोल द इन्फ्लेशन एंड ऑल। तो मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी में थोड़ा सा उन्हें अप्रोच रीथिंक करना पड़ेगा. इट हैज टू नाउ रीथिंक इट्स अप्रोच, राइट? Prior to this episode, there were indications of the Fed hiking rates by 50 basis points when it meets next. But market expectations now seem to have changed. Concerns over financial stability may trump inflation management, considering the heightened uncertainty. Concerns over financial stability, that means the federal bank must be more concerned about the financial stability, राइट? एंड देन इन्फ्लेशन मैनेजमेंट, वो इन्फ्लेशन मैनेजमेंट के लिए सिर्फ इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को बढ़ा रहे हैं. दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. And then increase in the interest rates is bringing this effect on the banks. And then the collapse of the bank is coming up with a ripple effect elsewhere in all the financial, in the complete financial sector. Right now, if it has to rethink, so it will come up with a different approach in the monetary policy. So what will that be? That they will be more concerned about the financial stability and then inflation management. तो यहाँ पे ट्रम्प का मीनिंग समझ में आ जाता है that this is being trumped. Inflation management कम लेवल पे आ जाएगा और financial stability will take a higher notch. Considering the heightened uncertainty, policymakers across the world should be careful as they navigate this challenging period. ये heightened uncertainty है, मतलब क्या होगा आगे पता नहीं है. इस अनसर्टेनिटी की वजह से या इस अनसर्टेनिटी के चलते हुए जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स हैं एंड दैट टू अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड, नॉट ओनली इन यूएस, दे शुड बी much more watchful, much more concerned about how the things are going to settle. I hope you have understood with this explanation. Let's come to the main idea. The US authorities intervene. Why? To prevent the financial contagion. कंटेजन का हमने करा ना, कंटेजियस जैसे डिजीजेस होती हैं, तो कंटेजियस मीन्स विथ कॉन्टैक्ट वो होती जाती हैं, राइट? तो कंटेजन, फाइनेंशियल कंटेजन विल बी वट एवर इज हैपनिंग एट वन प्लेस इन वन बैंक इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू हैव अ रिपल इफेक्ट in the other banks also or in the other financial institutions also, right? So if happening in one institution and having an effort, having an effect in the other financial institutions also or in the whole financial sector, that will be called a financial contagion. But questions arise over the regularity approach. ठीक है, तो उसे क्वेश्चंस तो बोला ही था, उसे वो आधा कई सारे क्वेश्चंस होंगे कि आखिर इस तरीके से बैंक इस लेवल तक पहुंची कैसे और क्यों पहुंची, राइट? नाउ, as I said earlier, I have taken the second editorial also, but just for a quick reading, and then we'll come up with the words that are in both the articles, right? So I hope you keep your notebooks and your pen ready with you so that you are able to take down the words. So here, let's see this. So Center's affidavit on same-sex marriage shows that path to equality is fraught with obstacles long last their sell-by date, right? Affidavit is something that is a proof, an affirmation. ठीक है, अब हम उसमें directly, I've taken this word, all the bold words I've taken in the list also. फ्रॉड नहीं लिया तो फ्रॉड का हम पहले कर चुके हैं, इट इज फुल ऑफ. ठीक है, जिसने नहीं किया है वो लिख लेगा जल्दी से. Now the center's affidavit in the Supreme Court on Sunday opposing the legalization of same-sex marriage relies on outdated ideas of sanskar that had once guided the imagination of heterosexual marriages and the Indian family unit. In its 56-page long affidavit that argues that the notion of marriage itself necessarily and inevitably presupposes a union between two persons of the opposite sex, and that by and large the institution of marriage has a sanctity attached to it, and in major parts of the country it is regarded as a sacrament, a holy union, and a sanskar. The center has urged the apex court to leave it to the discretion of the parliament, since granting recognition and conferring rights, recognizing the human relations which has its consequences in law and privileges, is in essence a legislative function and can never be the subject matter of judicial adjudication. See, now you can see why I took this article. ठीक है, यहाँ पे तुम्हें कितने सारे वर्ड्स मिल जाएंगे. द इफ यू रिमेम्बर आई हैड गिवन यू दिस वर्ड सैंक्ट रिलेटेड टू सेक्रेड, प्योर. ठीक है, इसका मीनिंग प्योर है, होली है. So you have this word sacrament, you have this word sanctity, right? And then you have this word conferring rights. Conferring is to give. Adjudication हमने word JUD से relate किया था, right? Judicial adjudication. Yeah. Now the government's affidavit came as a counter to the petitions of more than a dozen same-sex couples to the Supreme Court to legalize gay marriage in India. The apex court has now referred the matter to a constitution bench of 5 judges that will hear it on April 18. The affidavit is in keeping with the center's stance on LGBTQIA plus rights. In 2018, ahead of the historic reading down of provisions of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, a colonial era legislation that had effectively criminalized homosexual relations in India, the center had declared its intent to leave the decision to the wisdom of the court with a caveat. Is a small warning. It had exhorted the Supreme Court, urged, plead the Supreme Court to leave the matters of attendant rights of the community for the state. If its hesitant support for the historic judgment was a step forward, its intent to play arbiter over the extent of the community's freedoms shows its discomfort with the changing nature of family relationships. Observed so astutely by an SC bench last year. ये सब हुआ था last year और अब उसका क्या take है, that is it. The path leading up to equality is fraught with obstacles long past their sell-by date. Changes to structures and attitudes take time, entrenched as they are over generations of social, political, and religious conditioning. Entrenched means they are ingrained, deep rooted. ठीक है, तो इतनी जल्दी इतनी आसानी से ये चेंजेस नहीं होने वाले हैं. This is what the author says. It requires an overhauling of the imagination, conscious attempts to open minds to change. In trying to hold on to a traditional notion of gender in marriage, the center is missing out on the foundation meant to hold the relationship together and build a community around it, that is love, respect, and recognition. Instead of playing the moral police, the state should work on empowering the community with equal opportunities that do not restrict them to the margins. Restrict them to the margins यानी वो सोसाइटी की कल्चर की मेन स्ट्रीम में नहीं लेते हैं लोग उनको. ठीक है, दे आर बीइंग पुश्ड आउट, पुश्ड अवे एंड टुवर्ड्स द मार्जिन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. मतलब लाइमलाइट में नहीं है, मेन स्ट्रीम में नहीं है, ऐसी कम्युनिटी को नजरअंदाज कर दिया जाता है, इग्नोर कर दिया जाता है और उसे अलग थलग रखा जाता है, किया जाता है. तो दैट इज दे हैव बीन पुश्ड टू द margins. In the meantime, it should allow the apex court to do its job. Now, see, this was a passage, a short one, almost the length of this article was the length of a normal RC passage, a normal CR passage, though you get lengthy articles also in RC and CR. पर ये एक ऐसा लेवल था कि एवरेज लेंथ आई कुड से. पर इस पैसेज में से तुम्हारे साथ बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस सीआर के, दैट इज क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग के, बन सकते थे. स्टेट है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, लोग हैं. ठीक है, इफ यू कीप ऑल द स्टेक होल्डर्स इन दिस आर्टिकल टुगेदर, you can come up with, see, all the stakeholders will be, this is the government, उस गवर्नमेंट में जुडिशरी आ जाएगा. ठीक है, दैट इज द सुप्रीम कोर्ट. It could be the state, that is the government, right? It could be the parliament, the legislature, जिसके लिए भी यूज किया गया है. और फिर जो है इनका जो कम्युनिटी है वो, हर एक पे तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन आराम से बन जाएगा. उनका अजम्पशन क्या है और इस सब में से हम इन्फ्रेंस क्या निकाल सकते हैं, या इस सब में से जो कुछ भी दिया है उसमें से कंक्लूजन क्या है. Read this article again and then see what you can conclude, what you can understand. What you can understand from it will be the inference. what you can come to a decision, come to a conclusion. जब हम बोलते हैं ना ठीक है अब तो यही है, वो conclusion होता है जो कि passage में से ही आता है. Conclusion is based on the premises here, right? And then when the court said something, when he says in the last sentence also, it should allow the apex court to do its job. इतने से sentence में भी इसका assumption क्या हो सकता है? इसका assumption हो सकता है कि apex court अपना काम अच्छे से करेगी या apex court सही निर्णय लेगी. If you say you leave this job to the apex court मतलब supreme court है, तो you're assuming that the apex court is going to give this decision in favor or maybe whatever it is a very logical decision है. ठीक है, यहाँ पर अगर तुमने कहा changes to structures and attitudes take time and take time, बस अगर इतना ही सेंटेंस है इससे भी हम कुछ इन्फर कर सकते हैं, इससे भी हम कुछ assumption निकाल सकते हैं. The question could be that what is implicit in this statement, right? So this kind of a passage is full of questions of critical reasoning. Right, as I told you that day that mainly from this week I'll be taking the critical reasoning only. सिर्फ central idea नहीं होगा. तो central idea तो मैंने first वाले passage में आराम से बन गया था. यहाँ पे हमें थोड़ा सा दिमाग पे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा जोर और लगता है. Logical bent of mind you need, and you can understand how these things are given. So if you have not understood, kindly read this article again. Coming to the words now: intervene, interfere, interpose, arbitrate. Contagion, pollution and dirt. Contagion हमने कहा था something that is contagious. Shoring up, prevent something from falling by supporting it. Shoring up का मतलब होता है कोई लेवल या कुछ नीचे से सपोर्ट कर देना, उसे धीरे से ऊपर पकड़ के रखना ताकि वो और आगे ना गिरे. Ripple effects, effects on a series of things one after the other. Surge is right to swell, increase in number. जिसे स्वेलिंग कहते हैं. और जब एकदम पानी या कुछ आ सकता है या लोग आ जाते हैं तो उसे गश या रश भी कह सकते हैं. ट्रिगर ऑफ कोर्स यू नो कि ट्रिगर अगर हम गन में ट्रिगर दबाते हैं, पिस्टल में ट्रिगर दबाते हैं, तो इट इज समथिंग दैट इज बीइंग ट्रिगर्ड. See, whatever happened when I read this article, the second one, it triggered a lot many questions in my mind. So it actuated, you can say, activated आ सकता है, actuated आ सकता है. ये भी और words हैं. तो इनिशिएट करना, एक्टिवेट करना, स्टार्ट कर देना, ऑगमेंट करना, ये सारे वर्ड्स इसके सिनोनिमस आ जाएंगे ट्रिगर्ड के. इट इज टू स्टार्ट. हजार्ड ऑफ कोर्स वी हैव डन. रिस्क, डेंजर है. एक और वर्ड कर सकते हो, मिनेस. फ्रूक्टिफाइंग में फ्रूक्चस आ जाता है. फ्रूटफुल से रिलेट कर दो तो फ्रूटफुल मीन्स समथिंग दैट इज गिविंग यू अ फ्रूट, एंड फ्रूट मीन्स अ प्रोडक्ट एंड हेंस प्रोडक्टिव. ट्रम्प हमने सेंटेंस में ही समझ लिया था. इट ट्रम्प्ड, अंडरमाइन, आउटडू या आउटब्रेक. तो क्या ट्रम्प हुआ था कि हम पहले ध्यान किस पे देंगे? फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी पे. तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी ने किसको ट्रम्प किया? व्हाट वाज दैट? उसने ट्रम्प किया था इन्फ्लेशन को. तो इन्फ्लेशन की बात हम बाद में देखेंगे और फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी की बात हम पहले देखेंगे. Affidavit, of course, everybody knows what is an affidavit, but still I came up with these two words. Confirmation you can write, or proclamation you can write. Affirmation, confirmation तो आता है तुम लोगों को. Proclamation you can write. The last few questions, words. Sacrament is the right ceremony or reparation कह सकते हैं उसे. Conferring, confer करना है यानी कुछ देना. तो convene, discuss या कॉन्फ्रेंस कैसे होता है? राइट. तो कॉन्फ्रेंस मतलब टू डिलिबरेट. डिलिबरेटिंग का मतलब होता है थिंकिंग, डिस्कसिंग, थिंकिंग, कन्वीनिंग. एडजुडिकेशन में वी ऑलरेडी हैव दिस वर्ड ज्यूड. ज्यूड जुडिशरी से आ जाता है. तो वर्डिक्ट, सेटलमेंट और डिक्री. एडजुडिकेट यानी जो तुमने अपना वर्डिक्ट सुनाया. एग्जॉर्टेड is I had given you this word urged. ठीक है. पुश, गोडेड, प्रोडेड कर सकते हो कि किसी को कुछ आगे करने के लिए, कुछ काम करने के लिए. ऐसे उस दिन हमने किया था ये वर्ड, आई रिमेम्बर. एल्बोड हमने किया था. एल्बोड एंड प्रोडेड, गोडेड, एग्जॉर्टेड यानी अर्ज करना, बार बार बोलना, आगे करना, देखो तुम ये काम करो. आर्बिटर इज द मीडिएटर. आर्बिट्ररी डिसीजंस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, ना कई बार न्यूज़पेपर्स में आता है. एस्ट्यूटली astute is wise, sharp. So judicious, clever, wise, sharp. कुछ भी कर सकते हो. Entrenched हमने लिख लिया था, deep rooted. जिसने नहीं लिखा वो लिख सकते हैं, तो ingrained आ सकता है, embedded आ सकता है. ठीक है, दैट इज entrenched यानी पूरी तरीके से डूबा हुआ. तो deep rooted हो जाएगा. So that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Thank you. 25 मिनट में 2 हो गए.